Making a film is impossible without a story, but writing a story is impossible without an idea. And I understand this feeling all too well of trying to find the right, perfect idea to write about, and it almost seems like it's always out of reach. Sometimes we have one idea, and then we get bored and move on to another idea before we even write anything. And that's very frustrating because in order to write, you have to stick with an idea. It's almost like finding an idea you can stick with is a separate skill from writing itself. Over the years, I've noticed my thought patterns, and I've realized what's been holding me back all this time. So, what do you do when you're trying to find a story? What holds you back from finding a great idea that you could stick with? Well, for me, it was thinking too far outside of myself. So that means that basically either I would see a piece of work that I was inspired by and I want to make something like it, but I wouldn't think about what about that story really pulled me in. And another thing is that if you're trying to write something you don't really know much about, maybe it's something you're interested in, but you don't know much about it, it'll be very hard. So, spies are very cool. I like James Bond. I like all those kind of different stories, but I'm not very knowledgeable about that topic, so I don't know what I could really bring to the table with that kind of project. It doesn't mean you can't do it, but it does mean that you do need extensive research, and you need to have basically a reservoir of information to work with before you can start writing something like that. Now, what you could do is you could write your own personal experience, meaning that if something happened in your life that you found interesting, funny, sad, inspiring, what have you, then you could write about that and it could be a full story already. But sometimes you don't have to do that either. Sometimes you could just think about your desires, your fears, the things that maybe you find to be obstacles in your personal life. Besides, trying to find an idea for a story. We're not going to count that. Actually, no, you could write about that too. Scratch that. You could write about that too. You could also write about something that you relate to on an emotional level. For instance, I wrote and directed a film called College Senior. Now, the film is about an elderly man who feels unfulfilled in his life. He looks back on his whole life and he thinks about, what have I really done? And do I have anything really to show for all this life I've lived? And so what does he do? He decides to become a college student to find his new purpose. I can't relate to that literally, but something about that idea just really spoke to me. I thought, one day when I'm not young anymore, I will probably be thinking these things. And I gotta tell you, that kind of scared me a bit. Now, if you actually watch the film, you'll see that it's mainly a comedy, but these core ideas are what gave the whole film life. Everything came from that core fear, that core idea of, will I have lived up to my potential by this certain age? This is a universal feeling. A lot of people, even if they're 35, they still might feel like have regrets about their life. Another great way to find an idea for your film is to just look at films that you already love. And even if that film is ambitious for your scale, you can look at it and extract the main idea from it. So, for instance, a lot of people are inspired by the Dark Knight trilogy. The idea that someone could rise above their limitations to face their fears. Now, you don't have to be writing about Batman in order to write these ideas. You don't have to write about a masked vigilante or a superhero. You don't need any of that. All you need is a hero that is facing whatever fear he has and whatever limitations he has personally. And I think you'll be surprised that you could actually create something original with this method, something that's not too derivative, just by extracting these main themes that speak to you. The ideas themselves are really not that unique. A lot of people suffer from lack of confidence, from fear of loneliness, all these different things that humans fear and humans desire. They're very common, but what makes it unique is how you write about it, is how it manifests in your spirit. So if the idea encourages you to face these inner struggles within yourself, you will never stop having something to write about. So in summary, write what you know. Now, it doesn't have to be from a literal experience, but it should be something that speaks to you emotionally or something you understand intellectually. What's truly unique is your perspective. So write about it. Well, thanks for joining me today. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to like and subscribe to the channel, and also hit the notification bell so you never miss a video. As always, feel free to engage with the community and leave a comment down below. Until next time.